Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Today we're talking about momentum. I'm really excited about this topic. It's early for me. I'm just starting to drink yerba mate. 7 a.m. is not when I usually start working, but it's when this is happening today. And I'm really excited to talk to you because this is a fun topic. So back in college, I studied physics. That was my bachelor's degree, was on physics. And momentum is actually we use it in normal language, but it is actually a physics concept. The idea is that you are looking at and measuring the velocity of a mass. So a lot of things in our physical world has mass. So if you'd see my coffee cup, my mug right here, it is ceramic, it is pretty heavy, it has a lot of mass. And a ball, it could have a lot of mass. A classic example of this is throwing a ball down a hill and you see it picking up speed, picking up speed, picking up speed. We would say that that ball has momentum because it is at a certain velocity moving forward. It's at a certain speed and it's moving forward consistently. We're expecting that ball to continue to go. So how we use it in our normal language is, and in our businesses, is we can create momentum, and we can have momentum in our business when things are moving forward. We're picking up speed. We don't expect things to stop anytime soon. We're expecting the speed. We're expecting the trajectory to continue forward. So obviously that feels good. Obviously we want to create that in our business. So that's what we're talking about today. And this is important because it changes the energy that you actually bring in your business. If you feel like you have momentum in your business, it feels significantly better than when you feel like you are stuck, you're not moving, or you're moving in a billion different directions, but you're not really sure if it's moving in the right direction, any of the directions. And it also is a way that you build resilience and sustainability in your business. When you have created momentum, when that ball is moving forward and you're expecting it, you can tell by the physics of it that it's going to continue moving forward. Then you can actually build resilience. If a bump shows up in the road, it's okay because you have momentum to get through it. And you can actually have sustainability in the long term because the momentum feeds itself. I talk about all the time about how your business is a separate entity than who you are. Even if you are a personal brand, your business is a separate entity than you. So if your business has momentum, you can take time off and your business will still have that momentum of moving forward. It also allows you to have more grace with yourself because you can take that time off. You can step away from your business because of the momentum that your business has created. So let's first talk about mistakes people make when it comes to momentum. I'm just going to take a drink. Okay, so mistakes people make with momentum, or just in business in general, is trying to do everything. They're trying to do everything at the same time. This usually happens when you are getting started in business or when you hit a certain plateau and you're trying to break a plateau, whether that is an income level or an audience size. You're trying to get past that point and you have to learn new skills, you have to learn new tactics. So you suddenly just throw everything, throw the spaghetti at the wall, you try everything. And this can actually make you feel overwhelmed, and it can make you feel like you're going nowhere because you're trying to move in a bunch of directions at one time. It's actually the opposite of momentum. Okay, because momentum again is that ball rolling down the hill. It's moving in one direction, and suddenly you are trying to throw projects in all the different directions, and you're not actually going to go anywhere because you're not moving forward. You're moving in a bunch of different directions. Those can be pulling against each other, actually. So another mistake that I see people make is huge bursts of effort followed by ghosting. I see this all the time with email lists specifically, or social media even. You will create a bunch of posts and be like, okay, I'm going to post every single day. Yeah, let's do this. Or I'm going to I'm about to go into a launch. So I need to start communicating with my email list so that they buy from me. And then you spend a lot of energy It's not sustainable action. So then you ghost. After the promotion is over, you stop emailing the email list, you get triggered and you stop showing up on social media. Again, this is the opposite of creating momentum, because it's not that consistent moving forward, building up speed, building up speed. It is starting and stopping and starting and stopping and hitting a brick. So what this actually does is it makes you feel drained. It makes you feel burnt out, and it actually can bring up shame in your business. So where before you're building with momentum, you're building resilience, like you can face anything with that huge bursts of energy and then stop. What you're doing is you can create this thought in your head that I can't trust myself, my audience can't trust me, I'm ashamed of how I show up in my business, versus I'm building up speed and building up momentum. So the third mistake I see people make with this is only giving credit when hitting massive goals. So this is when, okay, I want to make $100,000 this year, and I'm not going to like, that means I have to consistently make $8,500 a month, or I'll do this launch and I'll make the $100,000. And you're not celebrating until you actually hit the big goal. Or I want to start making $20,000 months. I want to double my revenue, whatever that is. You're not actually giving yourself credit until you hit the big goal. And this is going to actually make you feel never good enough. And it can actually be a triggering scenario because you're neglecting your inner child. This can actually be a replication of how you were treated in childhood, where if you didn't get the A+, then mommy didn't, or daddy didn't give you praise. Whatever that scenario was for you, you're recreating this scenario in your business. So this is not good for building momentum, because it actually requires energy, and it requires consistent celebration in order to actually get that momentum started in the first place. So let's go into what to do instead. So how do we actually create momentum in our businesses? The first one is very, very clear priorities. And people hate to hear this. So clear priorities is what it can look like is during one season of your business, during a quarter of the year, in a 3-month time period, setting one priority. Or during an entire year, setting one priority for your business. If it's just you, if you have a larger team and you have departments and you have different people who are responsible for different things, this is different because you have other people and other people's attention in here. So, but you still want to have one big focus every single season or every single quarter of your business. So, for example, are you in the stage of your business where you're just trying to grow? You're trying to make more money. You're trying to build your audience. Is it a time where you're preparing to grow? That's different. Both are very important. So maybe this year is not actually a growth year. It is preparing to grow a lot next year. Or is this a stability year or a stability quarter where you're just trying to stabilize? Maybe you just launched a course and you need to actually get the processes in place. You actually need to finish creating all the material and making it excellent. So stability, and I love talking about stability because it is so not sexy. And it is actually the times in our business where we're usually making the most profit. When we stabilize our businesses, these are the times where we're getting extremely efficient in our systems, and therefore we're having our largest profit margins. Growth often requires input in your energy, input of your team's energy, input of money, especially like if you have to pay more people or do ad spend, and because you're trying to grow your audience. Growth often requires money or energy input into it to grow. So stability times are actually those times where you're making the most profit because you're spending less and less money. So getting back in, I could talk about stabilization all day, but coming back to the point, which is setting a clear priority. So maybe it is just one launch this quarter. Maybe it is just creating your signature program. Maybe it is growing your audience to a certain amount, like getting not by not doing this, you can actually set yourself up for failure and feeling not embarrassed, but let down and disappointed. If you have these massive goals, and I'm all for massive goals, but if you have a massive goal in a bunch of different areas of your life, like you're building a house and you're writing a book and you're trying to hit your next income goal, like you're probably not setting yourself up for success because it's not being realistic in your time period. And instead of saying, this is my focus this quarter, this is my focus this year, I'm going to prioritize it, and my number one focus is that thing, you're trying to give a bunch of different things your priorities. That is giving your energy in a bunch of different direction, and you're not going to build up momentum. Okay, so that was the first one, clear priority. What is your clear priority? And one more thing with that. So one of the women in the last round of the Alchemical Business Intensive, she was able to build all of the systems in her business, digitally clone herself, hire her first an operations manager to pretty much run her business without her. And her entire focus for the program was, I want to build a root system for my business. I want to build a foundation that is scalable so my business can run without me. It wasn't, I want to hit my next income goal and I want to launch another course. And at the same time as that, it was a very, very clear focus. And I asked her, like, why do you think you had so much success in this? And she said, like, I chose my one priority for this program. I had only one. You like provided such a buffet of information, but I had one goal, and that's what I focused on. And that's what I focused my intention and learning and training around. And like this applies to our business over and over again. If we can set a clear priority of this is the focus for the quarter, this is the focus for the year, it's amazing what can happen with that focused attention and that unified will. Okay, moving on. The next one that we want to do in order to create momentum is consistency. So another not very sexy aspect of business is actually showing up consistently in your business. So often what that looks like is choosing one social media channel that you're going to get really, really good at and master at a time, and showing up with that and giving tons of value on that platform, creating relationships on that platform, going all in on it. And that's not to say that later on you're not going to switch to other platforms, or not switch, excuse me, add different channels in as well. It's just if you're able to come forward and say, I'm going to consistently show up here. I'm going to consistently email my email list every single week and get in the habit of that. And once that habit is down and set, and every single week I have no drama around showing up, and maybe I'll even batch create a ton of emails to go out over the next few months so that I have this rhythm of creation and then stability around it. Great. Then after I get to that mastery point or that habit point where the habit is set, then I'm going to move over to social media. Then I'm going to move over to Instagram and get really good there. And I'm going to consistently do Instagram lives and show up on stories and post my posts. Or maybe I'll just choose one of those at first to be consistent at. So again, this is another thing I say over and over here, you guys, is business is all about building relationships. So consistency creates trust. And between you and your audience, between you and customers, so that they know that they can trust you to show up in your business and trust that you give consistent value. And on our side of things, you showing up consistently builds momentum. It is that ball rolling down the hill, as we come back to that example, going in one direction. You're building up the habit, you're building up the momentum around those things as you can continue to show up in that way. So recommendation here is to go smaller and do better. So show up on that one channel, show up in that one area again and again and again, get incredible at it, learn how to do it better over time, get excited about it, get curious about different ways to do it. And then once it feels like this easy breezy, I could do it in my sleep, I have no resistance to doing it, then add on a different channel. Because like you can build a very successful business on just one channel. Okay, third thing to do to build momentum is to celebrate every day. So instead of celebrating just when you hit the massive wins, you actually want to be celebrating both successes and failures, celebrating the lesson learned from those things, celebrating the teeny tiny things as you show up every day. Celebrate you showing up consistently on social media. Celebrate the one sales call you did. Celebrate the one new client. Celebrate the incremental improvement in how you show up, or the incremental increase in your revenue. This is so huge in creating momentum, because this is you using your own emotion in order to propel that ball forward. You infusing your business with the energy of celebration not only fills you, like, creates resilience in your own nervous system to continue to show up, because you're going to celebrate everything. There's no shame to be felt because you're going to celebrate the quote unquote failures. So it gives you the resilience to create consistency in your business. And it makes your entire business and your entire life just more fun, more happy, more joyful in the process. So those are the 3 things that you guys can do to create momentum in your business. They are not sexy. There are things that you can do right now. Create a clear priority for this quarter or for the rest of 2021, because we're talking in September 2021. Like, what's your priority for the rest of the year? Your one priority. Where am I going to create more consistency in my business? Where's the one? Have I been actually fluttering my energy in a bunch of different directions and I need to commit to one thing? Or I already have a few things and I'm ready to add on another one. So how can I be more consistent and more excellent in my consistency and where I show up? And then celebrate. So that's something that, you can do that right after this call. Just grab your journal and write out, what am I celebrating today? What am I celebrating that I did really well? What am I celebrating that I didn't do that well, but I can learn from for next time? So important. Thank you guys for being here. Let me know in the comments below how this lands for you, how you're going to actually take action on this today, because you can listen to trainings all day long and never take action, and you're never gonna somatically feel it, embody it, and get the results from it. So actually take action on this right now. And if you're listening here on the podcast or on YouTube, comment below. If you're on YouTube, I would love to see how this was, or head on over to Instagram. You can DM me or actually comment on this post. And let me know how you are committing to creating momentum in your business, because it could really change everything. And next week, you have a really amazing guest. We have Simone Soul back on the podcast, and we're talking about how to build a cult following. It is going to be so good. I'm so excited about it. I can't wait for you to hear. I'm planning on creating a workbook around it, because it was just that epic of knowledge drops from Simone. And yeah, look forward to that. I'll see you next Thursday, and you have a lovely week.